Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Super Prime UK with your Super Prime MJ Group valuation specialist, myself, Rob Cohen.
Myself, James Wild.
Super excited to have another EVA quarterly update. And today our special guest from ACONS is Aleksander Karkut, who will be telling us everything that's going on in the Poland market from his central office base in Warsaw. Welcome, Aleksander. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, James, what we got?
Thank you very much for joining us on the show, Aleksander, and offering us some of your expertise on the current market. Obviously, here in the UK and across Europe, the last 12, 18 months has been quite a turbulent time from an economic perspective. Sort of around 12 months ago, we had the UK and a number of other European countries were teetering on the end of recession. I think we've steadied the ship a little hit in the UK, and the recovery is still somewhat at an early stage. There was obviously last winter as well, so some cost of living crises in the UK and in a number of European countries. But how do the European indicators, what's that look like in Poland, and how's that affecting the country and the economy there?
Well, Poland is the largest country in Central and Eastern Europe and the sixth largest in Europe. The Polish economy has been developing rapidly and steadily over the past few years, with an average GDP growth of over 4% per year. However, the Polish economy is expected to slow down sharply this year and grow only by 0.5%. In 2024, GDP growth is expected to reach 2.7%, still remaining below historical averages. Inflation in Poland dropped rapidly from the peak of over 17% in February this year to 6.5% in October. For the whole year 2023, headline inflation is forecast to reach 11.4% and 6% in next year. In Poland, interest rates decisions are taken by the National Bank of Poland. The current interest rate is 5.75%, while the highest interest rate was 6.75% in the first half of this year. About unemployment. Unemployment rate in Poland currently is at the lowest level in the European Union, I think. In September, amounted to 5%. When Poland joined the European Union on 1st May 2004, we had the highest unemployment rate in the community. It was 20%. The latest figures from Eurostat show that in August this year, Poland had the third lowest unemployment rate behind Malta and the Czech Republic.
Question for you, Aleksander. Sorry to interrupt. You said that inflation increased rapidly, and then from February it's declined quite rapidly. So what was the biggest reason for its increasing so rapidly? Most of Europe last year was affected by energy. And why was it able to come back down so quickly?
Well, I think the energy is the reason throughout Europe, but I think this significant drop was caused by rapid economic growth of Poland, despite natural causes that can limit business activity, like ongoing war across Poland, eastern border, rising costs of raw materials, doing business and living. It just, rapid economic growth.
Yeah, no, thank you, Aleksander. Just through some of those figures and statistics there, it feels like the UK is actually fairly aligned with Poland in terms of its current inflation levels. We didn't reach anywhere near as high a peak as Poland, but I think it's been a lot more lingeringly high in the UK. And then interest rates aren't dissimilar. However, our GDP growth, unfortunately, isn't quite as positive as your nation. Just in terms of some of the real estate sectors in Poland, is there sort of certain sectors are performing stronger than others at all, Aleksander?
Yes, well, but during the first 3 quarters of this year, investment activity remained low due to increased financial cost and uncertain outlook. Nevertheless, the industrial logistics sector, warehouses sector, is still the strongest sector both now and over the past few years. Well, Poland is one of the 3 largest warehouse markets in Europe. Around 30% of the new warehouse facilities being built in Europe are being built here in Poland. And in the middle of this year, total modern industrial and logistic stock reached over 30 million square meters. And due to location close to Western European sales market, a good destination for new warehouse investments.
It's a similar story in the UK, actually, Aleksander. However, it's been an emerging market the last 5 years or so, the industrial and logistics sector here, with it sort of peaking in the last 12 to 18 months or so. However, our sort of, well, certainly Poland's Central European location certainly gives them a cutting edge in terms of distribution across Europe and further afield.
Yeah, but retail is the second most active sector. And I would like to say something positive about general office market, but this year is not active. In the first half of this year, the total office investments in Poland reached 190 million euro, being the lowest transaction volume for a long period of time, I think over 10 years.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
In terms of the office market, just to maybe touch on that whilst we're speaking about it, obviously we had WeWork go bankrupt in the US market just last week. Is there many WeWork centres in terms of flexible office space across Poland, Warsaw and Krakow at all?
Yes, we have WeWork offices in Poland. All of them, 5, all of them are in Warsaw.
Okay, interesting. It's going to be interesting the next 12 months to see how WeWork perform in other countries, just in terms of their occupancy rates and how they are able to continue to function. So we'll have to watch this space a little bit to see if they remain in the market or cease to trade.
I think WeWork will be very country specific, depending on what they're...
Yes, actually WeWork goes bankrupt, but I think that co-working remains a great product, attractive and popular among its users.
Yeah,
in total, WeWork has 45,000 square meters in Warsaw. And one of them just located directly opposite our office in the city center. And well, it's believed that one of the causes of the problem is remote working or hybrid working. However, I believe that WeWork users are not likely to work remotely, and still need such a service.
Continuing with the theme, Alexander, just in terms of the office market, the UK here, as you mentioned, similar to Poland, has adapted to very much a hybrid working, whereby a lot of companies have their staff working from home 2 or 3 days per week. There's obviously been a number of changes across the globe about how we work since the pandemic. I don't know if you could just talk briefly about how that's impacted the Polish office market.
Well, the pandemic demonstrating that many people can be productive outside the office. 3 years have passed since the pandemic outbreak in Poland, and the remote and hybrid models is still holding strong. However, there is although a noticeable trend towards a return to the office. 28% of working Poles say they work in a remote or hybrid model.
It almost brings the need back for that hybrid and flexible working spaces, similar to what WeWork provide, really. I don't know if a number of businesses will try to operate that sort of within their own space or move into more flexible spaces, maybe with sort of hot desking and other models to try and utilise office space as best they can.
Well, hybrid working has its advantages, but also some disadvantages. Most companies in Poland encourage employees to work from the office more often than before. This is often due to a desire to build brand loyalty, improve contact between employees, and share information more effectively. But in most companies work remotely 2-3 days a week.
Yeah, I think that's similar to the UK, particularly in London, Rob. There, and then just touching on back onto the wider real estate sector. The country's tourism in Poland, does real estate help to shape that at all in any way?
Yes, we have strong domestic tourism. Polish residents travel domestically and internationally, and the structure of tourist trips is fairly constant. The proportion of domestic to foreign trips is 4-1. And the best recreational destination in Poland include Mazurian Lake District, Baltic Sea coast, and Tatra Mountains. It is the highest mountain range of Carpathian. It is obvious that the hotel market is growing, but so is the private rental market. The prices of flats and houses in resorts by the sea and in the mountains have already exceeded the average price levels in Warsaw or Kraków. The second largest cities to the south. It is not only investors and regional residents who buy property there. Buying an apartment at the Baltic Sea or in the Tatra Mountains is also increasingly popular among people who work in other parts of Poland on a daily basis who want to create a second home in the resorts. The increase in demand for second homes has resulted in an increase in prices on local property markets. As of April this year, the most expensive city in Poland in terms of property prices was Sopot, a small town located on Baltic Sea coast near Gdańsk. The average price per square meter there was over 5,200 euro.
Alexander, does that mean that maybe because internal domestic tourism has become so strong with second homes, does that mean that less external international tourism is taking place?
Yes. There are No, the both tourism is very strong, and well, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Alexander. There's some similar trends there. The UK holiday market and those staycations is definitely a growth sector the last 2 to 3 years here, and it's seen slightly less international travel, I'd say, there. But also in terms of second homes across the UK, the UK government is slightly averse to that, and there's slightly in certain parts of the country certain sort of slight tax penalties in terms of your council tax for that, as they're less keen on that sort of private ownership of multiple properties. So that's sort of a slightly different market, I'd say, differing in the UK to Poland, maybe a differential there. Interesting what you said about the buy-to-let market, which you touched upon there. The last 5 years or so in London, we've seen a lot of build-to-rent schemes whereby residential towers have been constructed and their sole intended use will be just in the rental sector to provide mainly sort of studio 1 and 2 bedroom flats to city workers, possibly students, and those which wish to reside in the city centres. Has there been a similar trend in some of the Polish cities?
Well, actually, the Polish rental market is at, I can say, the turning point. In a short period of time, the availability of mortgages and property prices rose sharply and at almost the same time. And hundreds of thousands of refugees arrived, and commercial operators of institutional rental came to Poland. And traditionally, the highest rents are in Warsaw. It's approximately 18 euro per square meter per month. It's 650 euro for 1 room flat and 1,000 euro for 2 room flat. In regional cities, it's 500 to 700 euro for flats respectively.
Okay, no, thank you, Alexander.
It's interesting that in Poland in 2000 last year only around 13% of Poles rented flats. Why in the European Union average is over 30%.
Yeah, no, thank you, Alexander. It's been an interesting trend we've seen in the UK, Rob. It's been one whereby the rental sector, certainly in London and in many other parts of the UK, has been booming with limited rental stock. I mentioned earlier about the UK government being slightly punitive in terms of their taxation to those which own multiple properties. And what's happened in the UK is a lot of buy-to-let landlords, or private landlords, have been selling a lot of their investment properties, whereby there's actually a slight shortage of rental stock, whereby the residential market in the last 6 months has been very subdued across the UK. We had our first positive monthly growth this month, actually, in the last 6 months. Just to put it in perspective of what's happening in the UK, maybe in contrast to Poland there.
Alexander, we go very deep on EVA and super prime UK, on the upper tier prime, super prime residential market, in all the other quarterly updates that we've provided through EVA and the weekly, monthly updates in the UK. We've seen that the super prime residential market has performed really strongly and remained really robust, even with all the challenges of economic policy, interest rates and inflation. Tell us what the trend is in Poland.
Well, the upper tier residential market performed very well. Top price properties are a specific product for Polish investors. Often they their buyers pay more attention to the ability to store the value of the capital invested in the purchase than to the typically functional qualities of property. The top 5% of the highest priced flats can be found in Warsaw. This is over 2,000 units with an average price or average value of 600,000 euro each. Slightly cheaper is Kraków with an average price of 500,000 euro. In August this year, the most luxurious flat for sale and at the same time one of the most expensive flat in Poland was located in Warsaw in Powiśle district, close to the Vistula River. The property cost more than 4.4 million euro. It was almost 500 square meter, two-story penthouse. The price of flat, for example, in Gdynia, overlooking the marina, is also impressive. A square meter costs euro 18,000, which with an area of over 130 square meters gave euro 2.4 million.
Thank you, Aleksander. Just in terms of the any government intervention, in terms of any changes to any of the taxation or incentive schemes, has that been present at all to boost any of the real estate and property market sectors at all, such as residential through to maybe commercial?
Yeah, since summer this year, we have the government's first home program. Anyone who wants to buy their first property can benefit from a 2% fixed interest rate. The program is aimed at people under the age of 45 who haven't previously owned their own flat or house. The maximum amount of the mortgage is 120,000 euro for one person, or 140,000 euro for married couple. This 2% interest rate housing loan has dramatically increased demand for small and medium-sized flats, leading to high prices. There are different statistics, but general, depending on the city and segment, since the beginning of this year, housing prices have risen by between 5 to 15%. And I think in most European countries, housing prices are rather falling, and only in our country are they rising. And I haven't heard of another European country launching such a generous subsidy program.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Aleksander. It seems like the government's incentive scheme there has had a very positive impact on the residential market, which can be seen in some of the market growth which you referred to. So I think that's definitely a success story of something that the Polish government have introduced.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that, James. And that probably leads me to the final question for today's show. Aleksander, I think we're all surprised of what could arguably be called one of European success stories. Poland's economy and real estate property market has really outperformed and surprised other European nations. And Aleksander, what would you conclude or put that relative success down to? Why has Poland performed so well?
Poland is one of the largest countries in Europe with the attractive labor market, with the availability of investment land, with the right policy in terms of keeping control on inflation, as well on residential market. All this incentives given by the government. So everything has an influence on a general Polish market and Polish economy.
Great, thanks,
Great.
Alexander. Yeah, no. And just to underline again, I think that the strength that Poland has showed from an economic perspective, reducing their inflation whilst maintaining positive economic growth, is a definite success story. While some of the government intervention to maybe accentuate some of the demand, particularly from first-time buyers in the residential market, has maybe helped some of the economic performance factors.
Brilliant. What a great way to close out the year for the EVA quarterly updates. If you don't have the latest data, please subscribe, please register, please download. Our data is second to none. It's been released. It's there for you. Please make sure you get it so that we can keep you up to date with all of the latest information that's happening across the European Valuers Alliance, across Europe, with all the up-to-date data and information. Thank you so much, Aleksander. You have been great. Great positive story from Poland. And we will see you with the next update, which will be early in 2024. Thank you for all watching, subscribing, keep supporting, and we will see you all again soon. Thanks, James.
Thanks, Rob. Thank you very much, Alexander, once again for showing all the insights, market update on the Polish market, in particularly Warsaw and the other leading cities.
Thank you.